Live from Muckingham, it's Malignant Bear, featuring me, JD Grossmiths. Hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. Tonight we're doing some washing once again. This is already the third, maybe even fourth time we've played Powerwash this year, because it keeps getting updates, which is fantastic. Powerwash was one of my games of the year last year, and it's still good, still fun, still worth checking out. Tons of content. It's a lot more fun than the concept sounds. Very satisfying. It got a new update last week, and obviously last week we were playing Outer Wilds, so we were not going to stream the update. We wanted to make sure that was the only thing we were doing at the time, and it was well worth it. So much so that I was struggling to come up with a game that would follow up Outer Wilds. That was one of, if not the best games I've ever played. So any game that is going to come after that has some serious shoes to fill. So instead we're just going to get a fresh, clean start by power washing. And then we'll continue on and, maybe not be too upset about the fact that it's over. It's never going to happen though. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna stream some power wash again, check out the new update, and listen to some royalty-free music in the background, as we do during these streams. Yeah, so without any further ado, let's get to washing, shall we? So the new update, what it added was 3 new levels in the career mode this time. So instead of there was all these special ones that we got last time with Tomb Raider and Midgar, but now we have as well. Might be too loud still. Thought I had this all adjusted beforehand. Let's go. That should be fine. So the link to the music we're listening to is in the video description if you're curious. But, so yeah, the last couple updates, they added new things to the specials menu here. But this time it's in career mode instead. So they are under bonus jobs, and previously these were ones that they just kind of added willy-nilly. This one was in the game almost from the start, and then these ones got added when it exited early access, which was kind of cool. And I think we streamed actually this one before, and maybe this one as well. This one was kind of boring. But what we got added this time was clean the satellite dish, clean the food truck, and clean the solar station. I did the satellite dish off stream, if only because, for one, it's kind of boring. It's just a big satellite dish. There really wasn't much to it. And two, they also added little story bits for all of these. And when you started any of them, it just automatically started playing the story beats from anyone that you'd already finished, which was a little awkward. So the entire time I was cleaning the satellite dish, it was just giving me like walls of text from these other missions. So I'm kind of glad that I took care of that off stream. But yeah, it was just the usual thing of, people texting you while you're cleaning, telling you about what you're cleaning. So we did that one, and I did a lot of the solar station. I can't remember why, there was some reason why. But anyway, we're going to pick up there, and then we'll clean the food truck. Dirt Finder General, hi, how are you? All good, I hope that, excellent, same. I'm Anna, head of coordinistics at Thrust Industries. So these were the villainous corporation that was attempting to explode the volcano in the main game, because this game has story, of course it does. But they have this solar station / water pumping station in the middle of the desert. So we did quite a bit with it already. But I forgot that this BGM has vocals in it. Maybe not a good choice. But so what we started with was a bunch of solar panels that looked kind of like this. And then all of that crap over there. I cleaned all of it off stream, again, just to kind of get it done and over with. The shiny solar panels, and then the water pumping station. And the text messages you get from them while you're cleaning this is like them trying not to be shady, basically. So. And the other level, the satellite dish, wow, I totally blanked on that word. All the text messages you got during that were all about what they thought they were going to use the satellite dish for, and they thought that there was like aliens and stuff, but it was actually just the time travelers, again, from the campaign. So, special missions, they limit you to certain things, so we are unfortunately stuck using the best power washer. Oh no. This update, just like the previous ones with Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy, it's totally free. They did say, though, that there is some paid DLC coming out at some point. But I will be happy to support that, just because we've gotten so many hours of enjoyment out of this. So, not just me, but several other members of the band have as well. So, this is my FPS of choice these days, which probably says something about me. Getting to that point in my life. But yeah, I just left a little bit of dirt in this level, just so we can kind of start off with some easy stuff and get to cleaning. But yeah, I think these devs, they're doing a very good job in terms of not just the content and the quality of the content, but kind of building up a community and, you know, goodwill and all that by having free updates like this, which I think is the way to go. That's kind of classic stuff of like give your players a lot of good things, and then they'll be more likely to stick around if you do end up having to, or not having to, but I mean, you never have to release paid DLC. But for when you do release, you know, paid expansions and things, or if updates slow down, you have that goodwill built in rather than having to try to build it back. So props to them for that. Whoever is you know, their community manager and all that is doing a very good job. They're also pretty active on Twitter. They tweet memes and things, you know, ones that they make and from their community, which I think is very good. Again, simple stuff, but it's stuff that I think a lot of devs unfortunately kind of miss. And I get that community management, especially in the internet age, can be terrible. There's a lot of just very entitled fans and things out there that would make that job hellish. But you can do little things, you know, retweet some memes and stuff, and that can do wonders for your reputation, I think. So we have to go up. Wasn't sure if we were going to stream today or tomorrow, and then I remembered that tomorrow is Tuesday, so the Steam servers might be iffy, as they often are on Tuesdays. So better just to do this today. So last week we did Outer Wilds, last week and the week before. And the final stream of Outer Wilds, planned it perfectly, was our 365th piece of content. So you can watch one thing from Malignant Bear every day for a full calendar year. And with this, you get cover leap years too. How about that? Who says we don't plan ahead? But yeah, that was by design. That game in particular and timing it like that and all that. I've mentioned in the past that we don't post our schedule publicly anymore, but there is absolutely still an internal one, and it is for things like that. And sometimes it is planned meticulously, well in advance like that. That is not to say that we had always planned on 365 streams like that. But once we started getting close, that was the obvious answer to what would we do then. So yeah, again, that was overwhelmingly the most requested and suggested game since day one. Even before then, people had been telling me, JD, you should probably play this. You'd probably like it. And people were right. Yeah, I have played a lot of games, not just on stream, but over the course of my life, and that is easily in the top 3, and possibly contending for number 1. Very sad to have actually finished it. Joins a short list of games that, you know, maybe Amnesia wouldn't be so bad, because then I could get to replay that for the first time again. Everybody has at least one of those things, you know, some kind of game or movie or book or something like that, or even meals, you know, places you've been to, vacations you've taken, that it's like, wow, I would give anything to see this for the first time again. And yeah, that is up there. So is that everything here? So yeah, it's just the solar panels now. All right. But yeah, I think the beauty of Outer Wilds was that it was very simplistic, kind of in terms of mechanics. There's not a ton going on in it. You're just walking around, you're reading things, and you're figuring something out. And then there's just natural physics, and that's it. There's no, you know, complicated gunplay or anything. The vehicle mechanics, you know, they're there. They're shared by your suit and your spaceship. But again, it's physics-based. It's relatively simple, but it all works in its favor. It was such a joy to go through that and kind of unravel that mystery and see the galaxy and learn all those things and just get to explore and figure out what worked and what didn't. There was no getting bogged down in, you know, forced RPG mechanics or, you know, obvious time-saving microtransactions or, you know, multiplayer or anything like that. It's just you getting to experience something, and there's definitely something to be said for that. They knew they had something special, and they highlighted it with their choices in terms of mechanics and gameplay and everything. Getting to see how the physics and how the basic gameplay and all that changed with different planets and all the different environments. Just very well done. And of course there's DLC as well. We haven't touched that. We could have. I looked it up. Apparently that was the thing with the satellite. You were supposed to investigate that a little more closely, and that's what led to the DLC. I believe I might do that off stream, though. Just so I can really dig in and enjoy it. Not that it's not enjoyable to stream games, but maybe take it in a little slower at my own pace and all that. But with Outer Wilds, I went in mostly blind, and I would encourage anyone who hasn't played it and is maybe just hearing me ramble to go in without knowing anything. Don't watch anyone's streams of it or anything like that. Just play it. So I guess slight spoilers. I mean, yeah, there'll be spoilers when we talk about it. So if you don't want to hear spoilers for Outer Wilds, I highly recommend you play it. But if you don't care, the spoilers I knew going in was that there was the time loop. Anglerfish could kill you, and you could land on the sun station, and that was pretty much it. Those were the things I had seen before. I saw a clip of someone else landing on the sun station and thought that was kind of neat. And I also saw a clip of someone being eaten by the anglerfish, and I read about the time loop thing, because I think it's just in the description of the game. So, but otherwise, everything about it was totally new to me. So, which is impressive for how long the game has been out and for how long people have been telling me to play it. It's hard to remain spoiler-free from things these days. Well, that is kind of worrying, because that means that, you know, maybe not a lot of people have played it, so that game is not in the popular culture. The zeitgeist, as they say. Shame. It's a lot more lyrics. I guess it's not really lyrics, but vocalizations in this background. I couldn't remember why we hardly ever used this one in favor of the other two, but now I remember. Too late to change now. I like it, but it's maybe not ideal for streaming. But yeah, I so enjoyed playing through that. That was a lot of fun. I think the highlight was definitely Sun Station. Getting to do that, figuring that out. And then probably the Quantum Moon. There was quite a few times in that game where my jaw actually did drop in real life, and that's rare in games. There's things that'll give you, amusement or shock for a little bit, but things that, had there not been a time loop and, a 22-minute time limit, I would have probably stopped, gotten up, walked away, and come back. So, taking a lap around the block or something, thought about what I had just seen, and then come back to it. And to weave those gameplay elements that cause those moments into the story is impressive. Because that's the real star of it, is that it's not the story so much as it is using the gameplay to tell you that story. And I touched on this towards the end of that, but I think that's what makes video games qualify as art. It's when the gameplay is used as the artistic medium. You can tell a lot of these same stories other ways, It's how you experience them that's different and really mind-blowing. That gameplay becomes that medium to elevate it, Like Lord of the Rings works, you could play that as a video game and get the story. You could also read the books or watch the movies. The story works in all the aspects, and it's very good. But for it to work and be like an artistic video game, it would have to have gameplay as part of that story and elevate it, if that makes any sense. And of course there's, plenty of video games that have boring gameplay, but very good stories. There's plenty of kind of bog standard RPGs that do that. And those are still, they're works of art in their own right, absolutely. But again, I think the thing that really pushes them over the edge and enhances the entire medium is when the gameplay is used. The example that I always go back to is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It's an older game at this point. I still will not spoil it though. The story in it is nothing special. You can probably figure out the big twist a couple minutes into the game, and all that. And it's not a huge shock. But the shock is what it does gameplay-wise when that happens, and that's what works for it. And more recent examples of that would be the games from Joseph Fares, the guy who did It Takes Two and A Way Out, and another one. He might have been on the dev team for Brothers, I can't remember. But again, those stories are fairly simple. Like in A Way Out, it's all about you escaping from prison and then you know, reintegrating into society and all that. But it's a forced co-op game, and it's how the two players interact with each other and everything and make that work that really brings it to another level. I feel like the mic is bouncing a bit. I don't know if that's like picking up on it. I readjusted my desk recently, and maybe I need to tighten that up or something. We did it! So now we can see everything that we did in this previously. Neat. Open tablet. Bonus jobs. Food trucks. From Ella Good. Thanks for coming on this way, Scrubba-dubbas. Really appreciate it. My food truck's in a sorry old state. It's a long story, so I'll fill you in along the way. But in a nutshell, business just gotten tougher and tougher. Had to start delivering to customers wherever I can find them. Right now, the only folks interested are those living in the quiet life in the national park. Guess the rumors haven't reached that far yet. Neither has the Department of Transport. Off-roading was a nightmare. It splattered my ingredients everywhere, and I must hit more tree branches than a sulking Sasquatch. Now I've returned to the recreation ground. I'm understandably getting nothing but filthy looks from the passers-by. Please clean both my truck and reputation. Confirmed. Alright. It's a nice little recreation ground here, for sure. There's our truck, okay. I don't think we're supposed to drive on these paths. Actually, come to think of it, I don't know how this truck got in here. This all seems very illegal. Like you just shouldn't be able to drive here. Alright, so we have... good old Vista Pro, okay. Go with the short extension and the triple nozzles, of course. Soccer ball. Is there other stuff we can move around here? Obviously, this takes precedent. Oop. Because you've heard of the famous Muck and Ham burger? I have not. Please enlighten me. Go on. May have seen my catchy ad on local network a while back. We know about the ham, but what about the muck? Go on. Muckingham is where we are. That's just the name of the town. Or region, maybe. Come on and shake my head and tap my nose. Sorry, guys, but you're all out of luck. What's in it, though? Please enlighten me as to what's in the Muckingham burger. Muckingham burgers. Is it just a burger with ham on it? This might be a very quick job. We're already cleaning stuff inside. We haven't even looked in there yet. Trying to generate some mystery about the ingredients of my burgers. Get a buzz going. You know, like thingy do with their chickeny bits. What? What does that mean? It almost feels like something was lost in translation, but I'm pretty sure these devs are just British. English should be their first language. Oh well, I'm sure we'll find out more. We hit another 20% mark here. Soccer ball is still over there. It's just zooming, isn't it? If I even think about hitting it with the water, it's gone. Oh, I get it, it's Powerwash Sim. Nice. We have so much money in this game, and I'm not sure what it's used for anymore. I think I have everything purchased as well. I mean, I know I have all the equipment purchased, but even like the cosmetics, I think I have them all. It's just different colors for your gloves and suit that you can't even really see, so... Sparkly clean. Fact is, there's nothing special about what I put in there. It's just a standard malarkey plus a lot of salt. It's KFC's secret ingredient too. That and MSG. Spoilers. Anywho, it worked a treat. We were rushed off our feet for years. Fueled every festival from here to Sparkleton. Love how corny the town names are in this. Buckingham and Sparkleton and Warshing. I think it's like Washington or something, but it's like spelled like what? It's like a mix of like washing and it's weird, but yeah. Anyway, they hammed it up, and I'm here for it. I like it. But yeah, chances are if you ever had anything that's like really good at a restaurant, even just fast food or, you know, takeaway places and all that, and then you try to recreate it at home and it doesn't work, it just doesn't taste the same, the secret ingredient is usually way more salt than you should probably consume, and just copious amounts of butter. That's it. That's the secret. That's usually the hidden ingredients. It's just make it really unhealthy. What's going on in this song? It's wild. Dude, we're gonna finish this this food truck very quickly. Huh. Yeah, well, that's okay. We'll go back and we'll do the satellite one then. That was always kind of the plan. We'll at least start the satellite one. That one took a while. I don't know if we'll finish it on stream. This is always going to be a pretty short stream. Plenty of fun things planned, though, for the future. Again, just kind of wanted to clear the air after Outer Wilds, because that is incredibly hard to follow up. Cat started to go missing, you remember? Starting with Ulysses, the mayor's cat. It's our cat now. I think I know where you're going with this, and that's a little wild. That was fine, but then when more disappeared, rumors started going they were in my burgers. Can you imagine? Yeah, that's what I figured they were going to go for there. It was awful. That would be a pretty terrible rumor to have to quell. I always hate cleaning wheels in this game. Fucking hamburger. Come try our new volcano burgers. Ooh. Is that what that's supposed to be up at the top? Is a volcano? But yeah, there is no... I guess it's probably a beef-pork blend. That's how they get the ham. I was expecting just like actual slices of ham on there. Or even just bacon. Yeah, you can do beef-pork blends. Although when you do, if you mix meats like that, you pretty much have to cook them at least medium well, because different meats cook at different temperatures. So even though standard burger beef is ideal at medium rare, just like steaks are, when you add pork to the mix, if your beef is medium rare, your pork is just going to give you food poisoning. So remember that. We might not even get to see the inside of the truck. We're gonna just clean it before we even manage that. I do like food trucks, but I'm always a little nervous around them. As I built up this mystery, people leaned into it, and my sales took a dive. In the end, I declared my ingredient list. When people saw the colossal salt content, that really was the end. Well, I mean... I think you chose the lesser of two evils there. It's left with no option but to deliver to the odd customer where I found them, and I do mean odd. Anyway, I'm always slightly nervous about food trucks. If only because it's like, you know, kind of the hygiene and everything in them. And storing of raw ingredients. You know, there's standard restaurants that have issues with those things in a dedicated place that doesn't move. Adding locomotion to the equation just complicates things quite a bit. I always think back to, there's an episode of King of the Hill. It's all about food trucks. And at one point, the, Hank and the members of Strickland Propane have a food truck. And then there's a rival restaurant that gets one. And other people start eating out of it. And at one point, Dale eats it and gets sick. And he says, raw ceviche out of a moving truck. What could have gone wrong? I think about that every time I go to food trucks. Admittedly, I would never order ceviche from a food truck, but even from a good one, that just seems like asking for trouble. Right. 95% already. I feel like we just started. I definitely wouldn't have ordered out of this truck. It's filthy. Let's see. Let's get stubby. Here we go. Okay, I was gonna say I need to get into these little crevices, but that's gonna be kind of tricky. Get everything over here? Yeah. I guess the health department just doesn't exist in Buckingham. Probably for the best. One bad thing about having music on in the background while I'm power washing is, of course, that you cannot hear the satisfying rush of water and then the dings. At least not as loud. Okay. I think that was a... it's a package deal there. We got everything. Let me clean that one small part. And then we still have some stuff on the roof to do, too. What else is still dirty here? Oh, never mind. Interesting they have a griddle and a full oven. It's rare for a food truck. Right. I think that's everything in here. So all we have left is this. Just the top of the burger is so weird. I guess that is supposed to be the volcano burger. That's a very quick marketing turnaround there. Not just to make the burger, but then to, like, have this thing built and put on the truck. Which doesn't make sense because that's when the cats started disappearing. If your business was suffering, why did you spend money on this? Although I guess they could have had the volcano burger beforehand. That might have been one of their regular things. Because yeah, I mean, I'm viewing it as they made it after the volcano started erupting and people got scared. But yeah, it could have just been they always had it. Oop. I do like that you can crouch on ladders. That's a very good skill that we have. No, burger bun and burger fillings are separate things here. Oop. This is tricky to get in here. And this doesn't even impact the food safety. I mean, it's certainly not a good look, but... what else do we still have? Cab body front. I'm stuck on something. Ooh, I saw it for a second. Cab body. There we go. What else? Grill. Really? I think for that we might need to switch back to this. Divider, grill, and sign back drum. Oh, it's the divider completely. Okay. Which is the... What? That's the griddle. What? Oh, the grill of the... Okay. That makes more sense. Okay. I was gonna say, there's, Huh. Okay. Yeah, it looks a lot better now, that's for sure. I'd eat there, maybe. Truck looks amazing, you're a whiz. Watching you soothingly wash away all that filth got me thinking, though. I need a fresh start. Going for a full rebrand. I'm either going to move back to Buckton to go full chicken, or Spongely and do a bakery conversion. What do you think? Get it? Because sponge cakes, and then Buckley is like chickens go buck. So we'll check out this one real quick. Confirm. This music is incredibly loud. As we can see, it's just a giant satellite dish in the middle of the desert. The only other things around is this, and then all these RVs of, they're here. Crazed alien watchers. Oh, we can get closer to them. I didn't even inspect these or anything before. There's the gnome. There's a gnome hidden on every level. Most of the time, I forget about them. Water tower's kind of filthy, but we can't clean that. It just is. Or maybe that's the way it's painted, I don't know. Something's odd here with the RVs, but whatever. There's a sign over there. Can't get any closer. But yeah, this is like basically just a smaller version of the giant slide in the amusement park level. They're here. So it gives us, we'll go with this one, short extension. Again, good old Vista Pro, the best washer in the game. Min-max, you gotta, competitive power washing, of course. The thing that was crappy about this level, and the reason why I wasn't going to do it on stream if those ones had taken a little bit longer, wasn't these, like this part, like this is just a big area to clean, but the railings on the ramp going up here, that was crappy. That took forever. I think that is one of my complaints with this game, is sometimes things like that that are kind of small things are just an absolute nightmare to clean and power wash. I think they could be a little bit more generous with percentage on those. But otherwise, you know. Clean this hatch off. It's very important. I'm amazed they let the RVs here, because for giant radio telescopes like this, you don't want any sort of interference, so you would not have anything nearby that could potentially do that. In the United States, there is a giant radio telescope in the East Coast. It's in West Virginia, and I'm not going to sing the song, but it has, like, for several hundred miles around it, there's a radio-free area. It's kind of interesting to read about, so that they can get the best readings possible from the telescope. And for the few people who live in that area, they are not allowed, like, TVs or cell phones or microwaves or anything like that. And some people move there specifically because of that. It's the people who think that, you know, microwaves cause problems for them and things. And I mean, maybe they do. Who knows? I'm not a medical doctor. But yeah, I always thought that was interesting. And there's other similar telescopes to that in other countries as well, with similar restrictions too. Yeah, I remember watching, I think it was Tom Scott did a video on it at some point. His channel is fantastic. He just visits, he's kind of nerdy British guy, and he just visits cool and interesting things around the world. And you can always tell when he's, like, in a location, because he'll do a couple different videos at one time. I believe the telescope was also in Fallout 76, now that I'm thinking about it. Speaking of Fallout, Starfield is coming out this year at some point. That's a segue. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I mentioned that I had some downtime, so I was playing a little bit of Wulong. I did end up buying that, and it's been fun enough. It's nothing special, but it's enjoyable. I'm just a sucker for kind of Souls-likes, and it does enough differently that it has kept my interest. It's definitely not as deep mechanically as Neo was, which is weird, because you'd think it would be, based on what they were going for. But anyway, he was asking, he's like, "Oh, JD, you don't usually buy full price games." I said, "Oh, I'm good for like one or two a year, or not one or two, like 2 or 3 a year. Stuff that like really catches my eye, or I'm really interested in, or that I've been waiting for a while." So Wulong was one of those, mostly just because how much I love Neo. I wanted it to be that, but in China, and it kind of is. I wish it was better, but it's not bad by any means. And then I said Starfield, that's going to be one of them as well. Joking about Bethesda aside, and the fact that their games get more casual with each release, and, you know, all the bugs and all that, and, you know, Todd Howard reselling you Skyrim for the billionth time, I'm still interested to see it. I'm very skeptical of it, for sure. Everything they've shown about it, I don't know. But I'm still going to obediently give Todd my money. And that'll be one of my full-price games this year. For the most part, though, most of my game purchasing anymore is either Steam sales, you know, toss $50 in my Steam wallet instead of buying one new game, and then I can buy a whole bunch of ones. Or just the Humble Monthly. Occasionally I have done I'll do like a single month or like a trial of Game Pass or something. If there's something that like looks interesting and is full price, but I'm not like 100% sold on, I have done that once or twice as well. It's a shame that the PC client for Game Pass is abysmal. I know lots of people had issues where it literally did not let them uninstall games. So that hard drive space is just lost until you reformat. So that's why I don't do that too often. You know, it's like Microsoft is the computer people. At least they used to be. You'd think that they would have that figured out. It all boils down to it being DRM, but I digress. Point is, there's so many games coming out anymore and there's so many good games, especially good indie games, that it's hard to justify, like, oh, I need a big AAA $60 thing, you know, every month or so. Like, nah. I would much rather put, you know, $50 every month or so into my Steam wallet or somewhere else. Or, you know, Humble Game Store or something, and get games that way. You're going to get a whole bunch more for that same money, and probably more variety and better quality. There's some good AAA games for sure, but I feel dirty saying it, but I think one of my other full price purchases this year is going to be Diablo 4. I did enjoy the beta. I had some issues with it for sure, but I have to say that the updates that they gave some big updates on it recently, like replying to feedback from the beta, and a lot of the things they fixed was things that I had problems with, and just the fact that they were willing to do that. And I said earlier that it was good that, you know, Powerwash had good community support. Yeah, we're using the right nozzle. Blizzard used to, and then hasn't for a while, and it would be nice to see them go back to that. As they do have a lot of IP and games that I really do like, but I am still uncomfortable and hesitant to give them money because of the issues that they have had. I might combine my purchase of Diablo with a donation to some sort of charity. Probably like a local women's shelter or something, based on Blizzard's track record. And I'm sure, you know, there's lots of other scummy devs out there, whether it be individually or companies like Ubisoft. But yeah. When you explicitly know about one, you can kind of try to mitigate that. It's amazing how powerful water is. Clean this rust off. But yeah, I thought Diablo 4 was solid. I think my enjoyment out of it was also aided by the fact that I recently replayed Diablo 2 and realized that maybe that hasn't aged as well as I thought it did. They did a very good job with that remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. Looks fantastic. That's That's what I always thought that game looked like, and now it actually does. It's crazy. Nostalgia's a wonderful thing. But gameplay-wise, it's a little rough. It's very, very tedious, very grindy. And I mean, that's the point of the genre, but like, especially for that. There's several just absolute brick walls in progression that you can hit. Yeah, I feel like there just hasn't been a good RPG like that in a while. Probably since Grim Dawn. I think that was the last like really standout one to me. And those devs actually are doing something else. They might have... Can't remember what they were making. Was it Terra Nil? They're making some kind of like city builder or something, which I thought was interesting. It might have been Terra Nil. I know it's coming out soon-ish, or maybe is out if it's that one. Interesting to see them branch out a little bit, though. Wonder if they're just kind of burnt out on action RPG. It's easy to get that way. The other day was Earth Day. Then coming up we have Audubon Day and Arbor Day. Of course, Earth Day is for the Earth, Arbor Day is for trees, and Audubon Day is for birds. We have celebrated all of them in the past. We missed Earth Day, because that was over the weekend. We can kind of count this as an Earth Day game. Cleaning. Cleaning is important to the Earth. Arbor Day's all about trees. And we did that in the past. That was why we played Ori originally, if I remember correctly. The first one. Of course, we played the second one fairly recently. We'll count that as just early Arbor Day. Audubon Day is hard. There's not a whole lot of games about birds. Which is weird. Can't remember what we ended up playing for that last year. If I can get the rest of the band together, we might do Wingspan for that. It's the board game about birds and bird spotting. Which is like Train Spotting, except Ewan McGregor didn't do a movie about it. That movie is not about trains at all. Let's clean all these things. So very purposely, I'm going to clean the entire top part of this and not touch the bottom. Then it'll be like, wow, we did, you know, like 30% or whatever. And then it's like, oh, but it doesn't look like it. Ha ha ha. Trying to think if there's any other big releases coming out this year. I'm sure there are. I think Horizon Forbidden West just got a big DLC recently. I still haven't played the first one even. That's another one that's on the list. I've heard probably don't stream it though because it's like a 60+ hour game. We run into that before, most notably with Yakuza 0. And that was an absolute fantastic game and made my Game of the Year list and is one of my favorite games of all time. But to stream the entire thing, I realized very quickly that would have been quite the undertaking. If we were streaming full-time, then maybe. But given that we're putting out, you know, on average, probably less than 5 hours a week, that would have taken months. So it's nice to have games that we can do in less than 20 hours, ideally like less than 10. And there's plenty of those. Now, lots of people complain about that, the value proposition of games. Like, oh, I paid $60 for this, or sometimes less, and this game should last me forever. This should be the only game I play this entire year. I hate that. And partly because I kind of used to think that when I was younger, of like, oh, if I'm buying this game, this needs to have infinite replay value. No. No, it doesn't. A much more concise and kind of solid experience is way better, I think. You know, something that's gets its point across, you have its fun, and then you move on to the next thing, I think is good in terms of games. Like, you wouldn't ever just rewatch the same movie over and over and over again. I mean, you would if you're a child. And no burn intended there. But, you know, you watch a movie and it's good, and you might, you know, revisit it at some other point. Maybe watch it a couple times over the course of your life, or a couple years or whatever. Maybe you have a comfort one you go back to frequently. But movies are short, you know. Like, roughly 2 hours. Whereas, you know, are you going to want to replay all 100 hours of Witcher 3 constantly? And some games are designed for repetition. You know, you're going to play FIFA, and you're going to keep playing FIFA. You know, you're going to have another match, and it's going to last you that hour or so, like a movie does. And then you go into the next match, and it's, you know, slight variations on that. But, you know, you're not going to just constantly replay Doom Eternal. You're going to want other stuff. You're going to go play other FPS games or whatever. So that's why I like better, shorter games now. I'm not so worried about the amount of content, but rather the value of the content that I'm getting. And of course, there's games like this that give you a ton of amount of content for quite cheap. But then there's other ones that, you know, like Outer Wilds, where it's like, that was only 15 to 20 hours, give or take. And that's like a $20 game or whatever. Maybe 30, I can't remember how much it is. But point is, I would have gladly paid $60 for that and had that wonderful experience in a shorter time frame, as opposed to something that's padding to get the 60-hour campaign to match the $60. I see some people say that online, of like, oh, your game should be like $1 per hour of fun. That's ridiculous. If you're probably getting a lot of very repetitive hours then, like a Ubisoft game. I ended up dropping Assassin's Creed Valhalla because of that. I realized I didn't care about literally anything in the game. I had my fun exploring. I looked at, you know, I went around and saw every nook and cranny of that map. And that was the enjoyment I got out of that. The combat got very samey. The missions were not very well written. No characters had any kind of depth. there was a lot of just collecting the same thing over and over in just slightly different locations. But the locations themselves were well done, so I at least got some kind of enjoyment out of that. But I think that mindset of this needs to give me many hours of entertainment is why Ubisoft games, despite the issues they're having, still sell fairly well. Again, they're struggling quite a bit, partly because of some controversies of their own, and partly because other people are kind of aging up and realizing that, like, oh hey, this is the most repetitive thing I've ever played, and aren't getting them, or at least not at full price. But, you know, for the $25 or whatever I paid for that with the DLC, I got enough enjoyment out of it that I was satisfied, and was content to not finish it then. And I looked up the story on Wikipedia and was like, well, okay. I vaguely know who some of these characters are. Which I think is a ringing endorsement of the quality of that writing, of like, oh, this, you betray so-and-so? I don't even know who so-and-so was. Oop. Let's see here. Gonna finish off the top of this, and then that should be about when the song loops, and then we'll end it there. And I mean the entire top of this. We want to get those other areas too, because they'll be pretty quick. We can look at our handiwork and admire the fact that we'll be like 20%, and you won't be able to tell from looking at it. Neat. The constant struggle with cleaning. You're never truly done. The receiver and the receiver supports, of course. I remember this stuff being awful to clean when I did this off stream. Oh, it's all part of the receiver. Okay. That's good. Blech. Stuck on that ladder. Clean this ladder, too. So from the top down, we'll clean it. Controls feel like they're inverted right now, because we're on the ladder. It's very weird. Right, almost done up here. I'm curious what other content this game is going to get. I know I talked about it during the streams with the with Tomb Raider and Final Fantasy, of them doing more licensed content. I would welcome that for sure, and would pay money for that as well. I mean, they lucked out that they have some good licensed content, that Squeenix owns some good things. Or used to own in Tomb Raider's case. But I feel like that would be a slam dunk for other devs to, you know, pay or get paid a small fee to have a level or two of their games, you know. It would be kind of cool to clean off, like, the Normandy from Mass Effect, or, For some reason, my mind went to, like, World of Warships, of, like, you could clean off the USS Enterprise, that one. And then I was like, wait, who owns the rights to that? Does anybody? Would you pay the military for that? The US military? That was why I paused. It's like, that'd be kind of cool. It would take years to clean it because it's an aircraft carrier, but then I was like, wait, who would... World of Warships doesn't own the rights to World War II era battleships. Of course, you could do the Azure Lane or Cancol version. I don't know that that would work, though. Various real famous cars. There's a whole bunch of different Bond vehicles you could go for. Or just iconic levels from video games. Although there is kind of another version of that. There's what Viscera Cleanup Detail, which is just all about you're cleaning up levels from video games, like after they've been run through. And so it's just you cleaning like blood and guts from like Doom Guy was here. And it's not, you know, actual levels, it's just kind of parodies of them. But I always thought that was kind of a funny concept. We might stream that at some point. I don't know if that game has gotten any content in a while, though. I know it was in early access for quite a while. It was one of those games where they had the concept, but it didn't have a whole lot of content behind it. All right. Oh my god, ladders in this game are just a nightmare. I'm gonna clean the hatch off too, completely. If we can. What? This game is too addicting. It's gonna clean forever. Oop. Alright, close enough. But look, we're 22%, and you can't even tell. Amazing. It's like cleaning in real life. You think you've got a lot done, and then you take a look and you realize, oh crap, I haven't done anything at all. It happens. Anyway, we're going to end it there. This was always going to be a shorter stream. Again, just kind of an interlude between Outer Wilds and then going into some other things. So, to listen to me ramble for a while, see these new levels in Powerwash Simulator. We'll be back later in the week, probably, with some other stuff. Got some more fun things planned. But until then, I enjoyed this, and whether you were here live or you watch this VOD later on down the road, I hope you enjoy it too. And until next time, have a good one.